Hi, I'm Lee. I'm a New Zealander who lives in the East Riding of Yorkshire, and this is my podcast about my handmade life. You can find me on Instagram as louleigh_, and on Ravelry as louleigh, and I have an Etsy shop where I sell needle cases and knitting accessories at Shop Louleigh. Welcome! It's really nice to be chatting with you and spending a little bit more time with you today, talking about making and knitting and textiles and all of that sort of good stuff. Yeah, I have had a little bit of a shift round in the factory, and so there's a slightly different angle, and for some reason that's really throwing me off. And I feel like I need to do something with these cupboards behind me. Like they're just a bit glum looking, so I don't know, suggestions on a postcard. Today I'm wearing my neon cardigan, which is a pattern by Hohi Locatelli, and my enchanted Mesa, not enchanted Mesa, Exploration Station shawl by Stephen West. Yeah. So this is community news, and a lot of you are already participating in the Stash Appreciation Society. This is a thread that I set up last year for us to really enjoy the things that we already have. Stash is often full of things that we have specially selected for ourselves, and sometimes it's easy to forget that and to see all the new things that are coming along and just not revel in the things that are already in our house. Come on. And on that note, this fellow has joined us. He is he's struggling. He's quite enjoying the new factory layout because I used to have a couch by the window here, and he could sit on the back of the couch and keep an eye on our garden to, well, basically keep an eye out for cats. We didn't teach him to not like cats, the other dog did. Hey, don't drink my tea. So, this month in the Stash Appreciation Society, I wanted to start something new. I am deeming May for myself to be Mending May. And when you say that, it sounds so humdrum and utilitarian, but I wanted this May for me to be a celebration of things that I have that I still want to enjoy, but actually just need fixing or need a change to make them better. So it's amending May as well, just need improvements. Yeah, so I'm going to set up a thread in the Ravelry group for Mending May. I hope you'll join me because I'm feeling quite excited about this. I want to sort of change my thoughts about mending. As I say, mending is kind of, it has connotations of being a really utilitarian thing, and I suppose mending has always been something you do to extend an item's useful life, but it also kind of, it was a way of preserving things that were kind of second best. So you might mend a pair of trousers, but then they were only good for wearing on the farm. And so I think my mantra for Mending May is going to be make new. I need more clothes to wear in the garden, like a hole in the head. And so, yeah, with my mending projects, I want to feel like I still have something that's good that I can wear out. But I'm very aware that my mending skills are rudimentary and that I probably need some practice at doing this. So yeah, throughout May I am going to be fixing and amending all sorts of things well, I have big plans. Let's see how they turn out. Yeah, I have a basket of stuff that I'm looking at right now that needs some attention. So there are two things that I want to start with for the beginning of May, and one is actually my neon cardigan. I'm finding that the buttons on this are actually... You're annoying. I don't think you should be allowed to sit here. So I'm finding that the buttons on my neon cardigan are actually just a little bit too far apart, and it gapes as I'm wearing the cardigan. So I'm not actually going to I'm not going to re-knit the button bands or anything like that. I'm going to use Kate Davies' idea of putting some ribbon down the inside and adding some snaps at more regular intervals. So hopefully that will make it look neater when it's buttoned up, and just preserve the button band a little bit more. I need to actually get the materials for that first though, so that's one of the first projects I want to work on. The other thing that I have already started and has kind of been hiding in the bottom of a basket are my Advent socks from 2016, I think. And as you can see, this is not a complete Advent sock. So there was one of the yarns in my Advent sock, there's needles all over the place here, had felted. And I love these socks because the Advent calendar was gifted to me by a friend. Some of the yarns in this are ones that I dyed myself, like this self-striping one. And there's just so many nice memories and nice feelings associated with these socks. So I want to mend them, and I want to replace this section that's felted here. There's actually a couple more sections. There's one more section on the other sock that has felted, and I also have a section on last year's socks that felted as well. So yeah, those are my first two projects for mending May. I would love to hear about any mending that you've already done. I'd like to see what you've done. Yeah, just as a way of sharing different skills. If you know of any really good tutorials for mending, then you can share those over in the Ravelry group as well. And I hope you'll join in with me just to improve and enjoy the things that we already have, and to make the most of them. Last week I promised you a yarn review, and to be honest, I started reviewing the yarn over, it was the Yorkshire Wildlife Trust yarn. I've started reviewing the yarn over on my blog, and right now I have the swatch tucked into my armpit. So that is still in progress, so I'll come back to you next week with more about that, or just keep an eye on my blog, and I'll be putting the results of my testing up there. Yeah, it was the Yorkshire Wildlife Trust yarn. He's back. I showed you this last week anyway, that I made my slippers out of. So these are the, I think they're called the Simple House Slippers that I made a few weeks ago. There we go. And I've knitted up a swatch, and currently that's tucked into my bra. This week I've been working on my Tracer again. This is a jersey that was in Lana magazine, and I've got to the point with it where I'm just about to start the colour work around the bottom of the hem. There is a little row of this kind of lozenge pattern around the hem here. I'm not sure if that's kind of the most flattering pattern placement for me, but I'm going to put it on. I'm going to do the colour work and then try it on and just see how it looks. What's been really interesting, I put this, it's on 2 needles at the moment, which is why they're all dangling. This is going to be the show of clattering needles. What's been really interesting is the way they do this neck shaping in the pattern. Yeah, so in order to keep the yoke and so kind of this yoke pattern an even distance all the way around from the top neck band, they've kind of put the neck shaping to raise the section, to raise the back section here. They put the shaping for that down here, across the back here, and which strikes me as kind of weird. I mean, I'm not too worried about this pattern being an even distance from the neckline all the way around. Normally I would put the extra fabric at the top here and just have a little band of extra blue across there. Yeah, so it's interesting to me that they've put the extra fabric around the bottom of the yoke, and I found when I put it on last night that did something really interesting, and I'm kind of wondering if it'll sort of block out, or because what it's done is, I mean, it has raised the neck there, but it's also created a bulge, a hump across this area of the back. And I guess a little of that will block out when I wash it, when I've finished. But it's also taken the whole yoke. So if this is my side profile and my fingers are the yoke section, it's tilted the yoke forward like that. So the whole armpit kind of tilts forward, and it moves all the torso fabric to the back of the jumper, which is weird to me because it means that the side seam is kind of, the side, you know, the side stitches kind of have this funny angle to it. And I mean, I have some boobs in the front, they're not massive, but if the fabric is kind of tilting out the back, you know, I don't need a lot of fabric to accommodate my shoulder blades. So I'm really interested to see what happens with that after I wash it. It just seems like a really unusual place to put neck shaping, and at the moment it looks a bit unusual as well. I know knitted fabric behaves a lot differently from a woven fabric, and maybe once I get it wet and kind of flatten it all out, it'll all come out in the wash. But I mean, I'm not going to go back and undo it or anything, but it strikes me as an odd way of shaping the neck. It strikes me as an odd place to put fabric in order to shape the neck. So the jury is out on that one, and it'll be interesting to see how I feel about it at the end of the project and if I would do it again. So yeah, I'm making good progress on this, and I'll report back on that when I've finished. This is the sock segment, and I'm not sure if I showed you this last week or not. I am working on a sample for my favourite toe-up sock pattern. I think I did show you this last week. Yeah, so not really much to see there. The yarn is Akara yarns. I don't think I had the label here, and I've forgotten what the colourway was. But yeah, it's a really pretty colour, and I'm really enjoying working with it. Yeah, and so I hope to publish this in the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to have a special surprise for my newsletter subscribers. So yeah, if you want to get on board with that, then pop over to my website louleigh.com and subscribe to the newsletter. Finally, I have started a new version of Buddy the Bear. This is a pattern by Crafty Kuka, and I think it was a couple of weeks ago that I showed you my panic sewing. So I did go off and I purchased felt for this pattern in this really pretty kind of turquoise colour, light turquoise I suppose, and I have started a new version of Buddy the Bear, which is all in bits at the moment. Oh, I can find legs and things but not his face. Buddy, where are you? Here we go. So yes, mind you, there's not much to see there. Nose attachment. I've got the ears all ready to go on here. And there's one ear. The ears are all ready to go on. And I'm finding the felt is a lot easier to work with, and I just think it's going to make a really nice child's toy, so I'm really pleased with the way that this is coming out this time. The other thing I'm really pleased about is my feet, which I haven't pressed yet, but one of the problems that I had with my first go at this pattern was getting a lot of wrinkles around the edge of these foot pads. I'm great at sewing straight lines and not so good at sewing circles into things. Yeah, so I've used some woven fabric, not felt, for the feet, and so I actually interfaced it. I used some fusible interfacing to make that to stabilize the fabric so it wouldn't move around and sort of give and stretch, because that's one of the things with sewing circles. Some of the cuts are on the bias, which means diagonally across the fabric, and that makes the fabric stretch a little bit. So I use some interfacing to stabilize the soles, just to make them a little bit easier to sew. And of course felt is so much more stable to sew as well. And I found a really good tutorial for sewing in these circular types of feet on the Funky Friends Factory blog. That's an Australian lady who also does super cute children's pattern, and her blog just had some really simple tips to make the whole process of sewing these in quite easy. So yeah, that's been a massive success. Clearly I'm taking my time with this and not hurrying, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really pleased with the way that this version of Buddy the Bear is turning out. So that's really cool, and I hope to have all the bits together and to maybe get some stuffing into him next week. I think, yeah, like I say, I think he's going to be super cute, and I'm really pleased with the way these kind of orange pops look with the turquoise as well. So that's really good fun. So for the coming week, I think the projects that I want to focus on will still be Trayster, and I have my socks to finish, and Buddy the Bear. So you're probably going to see exactly the same things when you come back next week. Hopefully a little more finished. It's been so nice to sit down with you this week and have a cup of coffee. I always enjoy spending a little bit of time with you, and I really enjoy the conversations that start as a result of my podcasting. Or, you know, I love it when you guys come over and share your experiences and let me know what you're up to, and just join in the Ravelry group. So please come and join in over there if you haven't already. Or if you want to hear me witter on about my knitting and sewing next week, then you can subscribe below, and if you enjoyed yourself, give me a thumbs up. But as I say, it's been really nice to have a chat with you this morning and share a cup of tea, and I shall see you again soon. Cheerio!